Excellent. So thanks everybody for joining us this evening. We are really excited. Hopefully you can hear okay. This is actually our first UX Synergies event. We were IXDA for I think about 15 years. Unfortunately, the IXDA has dissolved for reasons that I won't go into, but we have rebooted as UX Synergies. So welcome to our first event. So tonight's event, we are going to be talking about a topic that is kind of low on most people's lists, AI. Not a lot of people know about it. So we're going to talk about AI and UX, the intersection, how it's shaping sort of the future of human-centered design. And we certainly want to thank IA Collaborative for hosting us. Really So I will start off with just a couple of quick announcements for some events that are local to Chicago that are coming up. TEDx Chicago is happening Friday, September 27th. Nikita is on the board or supports them.
I'm one of the event coordinators.
Yes. So if you'd like to go, head to the website. Looks like a super interesting night.
Actually, yeah, and all of you get 10% off on the ticket. Just ask me how.
There you go. There is a UX DX event going on in October in Dublin. I just put this up because they keep sending me emails and I'm looking for an event that is going on to fill in. So if you're up for a trip to Dublin,
Are they providing tickets?
they're not providing a discount. We don't have a discount code for this one. But it actually, the speakers, if you go to the site, the speakers are all from enterprise level companies. It looks like a pretty solid event. I've been to Dublin. Dublin's a cool city. I just want to promote, because we always promote them, because they're super nice people, the UX Book Club. They always have events going on. I didn't think they have an event planned, but I just want to promote them anyway, because they are nice people. And even if you just look at the previous books that they've had discussions about, there's probably some people in here who are maybe new to UX, want to get into UX. Take a look at that list of books, because that will help you understand the big picture. Some of those books are phenomenal books, so always great to learn. Stay in touch with us. Obviously, the meetup group is a great place to do that. Our LinkedIn page is active, but LinkedIn kind of doesn't do groups well. Maybe they'll get an upgrade for their group section. We will have pictures on Instagram.
And it's the tag is UX Synergies, and all the pictures we are taking today, we will be uploading there. If you don't want to upload the picture,
and then YouTube, I just relaunched our YouTube channel. So if you want to watch events from the past, we have probably 5 or 6 events up there. We'll be putting this event on YouTube as well, just so you can watch in the future. Our local leaders, myself obviously, Nikita, and Sam. Nick is in Europe, enjoying himself, and we'll get Sam needs to show at some point soon as well. So our panelists, I'm going to let the panelists introduce themselves once we have the panel. We're doing this in sort of 2 parts, so I'll let everyone introduce themselves when we get up there.
how's the evening going? Can I get some thumbs up? Awesome. So glad you guys could make it. Thank you so much for coming here. This is our panel discussion on AI. No surprise there. So I'm Nikita. I'm one of the hosts with Lon here. And just a little bit of introduction about me. I work for Amazon, and I lead a project called Rufus, or a product called Rufus. It's a conversational AI, which actually we just launched in desktop today. So it's available on your cell phone, but also today we just launched on the desktop. So Very exciting, and we've also launched it in UK and India, so very excited to see that happen. In addition to the Amazon thing, I'm also the event organizer for UX Synergies now. I used to be ISDA, and I also host TEDx Chicago, which you guys already know. If you need the tickets, let me know. In addition to that, I have 2 kids, and they keep me busy. Thank you. I will introduce our panelist here, Jesse. On my left is a VP of Design at IA Collaborative. He oversees UX, visual design, data technology, strategic practices. Wow. He's been leading the digital innovation globally for 25 years, and from uncovering unique insights to Google's next billion users. Wow. To create interfaces for connected fitness platform, to launching immersive digital storefront for brands like Tiffany and Target. When he's not running triathlons, Jesse has been teaching ACI for 4 years at Northwestern Siegel Design Institute and McCormick School of Engineering. Jesse, and can I get a round of applause? We have Jeff Stucken. Thank you so much, Jeff, for coming in. He's a Chicago-based product leader with over 25 years of experience. He currently works at Wives, crafting UX strategies to build enhanced SaaS platform and mobile application. Specializes in modernizing and streamlining complex B2B and B2C enterprise experiences, using data-driven, user-centered design approach to drive business outcome. He's currently working at Wives and a mobile marketing SaaS platform and messaging aggregator, where the product team has heavily interested in AI technologies to help user automate tasks, surface insights, and generate engaging messages. So please round of applause. Next we have Gretchen Nash. Hi Gretchen, thank you so much for coming. Gretchen is the Director of UX and Product Education at Big Time Software with over 15 years of experience. She currently leads cross-functional researching and design new software solutions. Before joining Big Time, Gretchen spent 6 years at Amazon, Alexa, and Senior UX Designer to Creative Director, overseeing a team of visuals, UX, illustration, and motion design. She oversees the development of design systems in her role, lending her expertise in UX design and creative leadership. Gretchen has designed and worked with research and development to deliver AI and LLM-based features as well as experimentation on her personal work. Thank you, Gretchen. And last but not least is Ryan Tate. Ryan has dedicated his design career to driving user engagement enablement through the power of data. As a former senior UX designer at Morningstar, he's passionate about discovering the perfect balance where emerging technologies and UX intersect, solving real-world problems and sparking innovation. Thank you. I'm going to give you a game here. Yeah? You guys have to guess each of the panelists' favorite AI movie. All right, we're gonna start with Jesse. Let's see what do you guys think? Everyone gets 3 choices, just 3 chances. What do you think Jesse's favorite movie is?
Oh, 3. Artificial intelligence.
It's a good
No.
chance.
Yes.
Do we get clues?
Her.
Oh, that's my favorite.
You have to go back a little older. And a little foreign.
Ghost in the Shell, yeah.
Yes! Yeah! Good job!
That's right. That's awesome.
All right, let's see who can guess Jeff's favorite movie.
All right, I'm old. It's gonna be an older movie.
Westworld.
Too Great.
2001.
Classic, right?
Yeah.
All right, Gretchen, let's see who can guess Gretchen's favorite movie.
Mine's also an older movie, and it was already mentioned.
It was mentioned. Yes, let's vote. Good job.
Yeah, Westworld.
Ryan? Anyone?
How old are you? Ex Machina? Would you consider
That's a great movie, though.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. That's
Violet green.
right. Will Smith, anyone?
I don't know.
Yes,
Answer your question, Sam.
and my favorite movie is her.
That's the best. That's the best.
So we're gonna get started with our first few discussion on just opening up questions about. Start with you, Jesse. First AI tool or product you used, which kind of blew your mind.
Yeah, I would say, there have been many tools along the way that have had some type of AI in them, but it was honestly using ChatGPT and having it do the work that I thought was so far out of reach for so many years across all these other tools that promised it, and being able to see the type of responsiveness that came back from that tool the first time, I was like, oh, this is it. This is the thing. The other thing about it that's been really fascinating is all of the predictions that I made after that were, oh, this is going to take like 6 months to a year until this next thing happens, and then 1 month later, it's already out in the market with the updates. And so it's been changing my perspective about how fast AI is moving and how quickly we might be approaching some of these things that we've been kind of dreaming about for so many years. Ghost in the Shell, Her, things like that. Being able to achieve some of the experiences that we've only seen in sci-fi movies. I'm turning into an optimist around AI in a way that I did not expect because I've been a skeptic for so long.
Sure. So this is also going to age me, but thinking about like my first AI experiences after I graduated college, I believe it was in '86 when Microsoft came out with Clippy and probably the great grandfather of ChatGPT maybe, but I hated Clippy, so I'll use that one. I think for me, the one that blew my mind was OCR. So it's sort of like the beginnings of machine learning. So for those of you who don't know what OCR is, it's optical character recognition. So you used to be able to take a document and you'd scan it, and then the tool would take the image and it would actually make all the text after it. So being basically turning into a text document. So mind blowing.
I was mentioning this earlier, but one of the first time I used Siri and was able to do voice input, it like blew my mind. Just thinking about all the way, I was like, what do you mean I don't have to hold this in my hand anymore? What do you mean I can connect with this from across the room? My grandmother was blind, and it was really cool to see how voice assistants could really transform someone in their everyday life, not having to Google or use their hands. So just felt really magical.
I have 2 young children, and not really autism crowds, so I can say for them, but you learn as a parent to talk a lot with your partner. So I was pretty much always blown away when I would text my wife and I'd be at work and start filling in sentences for me about stuff that they didn't really know that they should know about my kids and stuff like that. So not so much as personal, just filling in sentences and just kind of being able to say like, oh, my child needs this, and actually saying these things for me, always kind of giving reassurance that as much as the human is doing a good thing for the world, it's also like so, pretty exciting stuff.
Thank you all. And for me, I guess we shouldn't be biased when we're designing for AI, but I'm going to be biased today and tell you that my favorite product is Rufus. No surprise there.
Your mom. Your mom.
Right? But Rufus is a shopping assistant on Amazon app, and basically what we're trying to do here is if you go to Google and say, hey, I'm looking for coffee maker, or I'm looking for something which is helping me understand the technology behind it, or the TV technology behind it, or understand what type of coffee makers can exist before you sometimes go to Amazon. But when you go to Amazon, sometimes you already know it. But we're trying to bridge that gap. With Rufus, you can ask any questions you want, you compare products, you can get the recommendation. You can also ask about what's better today. So the idea is that it's a shopping companion for you, and it's a conversational chatbot. So you can actually chat with an AI and helps you shop best. All right, we're going to move on. Oh, this is a fun question. If AI could do any task, personal or professional, what would it be for you?
So this is something that many AI products are trying to do right now, which is manage my calendar. And that is literally the thing that I spend a significant amount of time doing that I wish I didn't have to do, or could be done more easily. And I know some people get to have assistants that do that, people that do it, but I think that's something that can be done with a good AI tool. We just haven't really been able to crack that nut yet, and I've tried so many of them. So that would be the number one that would just solve problems for me.
True. Yeah. So mine is, I work for a software company. Anybody use Jira?
Yes.
Do you love Jira? No. For me, I think, we recently had to downsize our team, so I've been in the weeds a little bit more as I'm actually doing design, and, I'm getting notifications from Jira left and right, so what I would love is for Jira to be able to take a look at my specs and my Figma designs and go through and compare. So when we do visual testing, we do functionality testing, like just go through and compare it, see what the differences are for me, put some notes in there, and then maybe I have to review it and it goes to the right workflow. So that'd be a really good one for me.
Yeah, I like to think about automation. I work at a global team. Part of the team's in Poland, some in Boston, some here. And so we take a lot of notes and action items. I know that there are Zoom assistants that can distill notes and all of that, but there's a lot of hallucination involved. Names can get spelled wrong, action items wrong. So I'm usually furiously typing and also leading the meeting and taking notes. So I would just really love to have accurate note taking and action items, and that would save me 3 hours, 4 hours of time a week, if not probably 10 hours of time actually.
Being in financial services, a lot of people have questions about stuff like what's an investment that is going to perform. I wish I had a crystal ball. Like everyone else in this room, I would like AI to. I would like technology to push the boundaries forward to help make better decisions about my path forward that isn't so much the caveat to saying, well, this is just advice, don't check with an advisor. I want that to be an advisor based on the modeling.
I'll give you two answers for me. Professionally, I want AI to solve my expense reports because I spend a considerable amount of time on expense reports. It's great. Personally, I would like AI to do my laundry. Yes. All right, we're gonna get started with the first question. What is the simplest definition of AI you think of?
So I think we all are sort of familiar with this definition of AI as the ability for machines or computers to sort of understand things that we typically think of as human intelligence, right? That's not really a very interesting one. The thing that I think is most interesting to me is the idea that it also involves learning. And so it's just going to get better over time. The more time that we hang out with it, the better it's going to get at thinking about things with human intelligence. And I find that very exciting. At the same time, as Matt mentioned, we're all making sure that we don't get to AGI too soon. I have that same fear, but I'm very interested in the fact that it continues to learn the more time that we spend with it. And the idea of having a kind of local, highly contextual environment for learning that is specific to you is very compelling to me. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's a great answer. Mine was much more similar. I was thinking in terms of 3D, so I have when a computer can understand data, make decisions based on what it detects. So, trying to keep it simple.
To me, it's just a set of digital tools that you can leverage for improved learning, automation, and amplifying creativity in a lot of ways, and something that is in everyday life.
I look at AI more as optionality, not finality, right? Just another way of adapting to think, or another way to see something, and circling that back to whatever originally you were intending to do as a companion piece, not so much as a wide direction.
All right, Brian, next question is actually for you. Keep the mic. So now we're gonna start questions, but I'll have specific questions for the panelists. How do you see AI transforming in UX in the next 5 to 10 years?
Aren't we there now? None of us can trump what Matt was talking about, which so I'm not going to try, but I think he touched on some good points that when you're you're training these models to learn the behavior and this data that we've all been inputting into driving for years will lead to ideally better insights, right? And the fact that these insights are leading to more innovative opportunities is one thing. I think the space is going to lie. And so, kind of what I was mentioning earlier, it's you're constantly solving a problem that may not be that may not have a solution per se, right? So it's always kind of refining the wheel. But I think that is kind of what is sparking stuff further to unlock other aspects. I'm not a car guy. I think the people at Tesla's fascinate me because of all the gadgets they do, and everyone who drives a Tesla loves a Tesla. Part of it I love is because it's intuitive enough to kind of predict model behavior about how far you're going, fuel economy. My Honda can do that. My Honda can only tell me I have X amount of miles till I have to go. So I'm looking forward, and I really see that this is being like kind of more of a long-term goal. It's more of a like, hey, you need to do this as opposed to this is going to happen.
Yeah. Jeff, do you have a perspective on this?
Yeah, sure. So, again, for me, just looking at my notes here, trying to figure out some of the things that I was thinking about, I came across an article that I thought was interesting, and they talked about, so before we were UX, we were HCI, right? So human-computer interactions. And the theme of this was more like, no, maybe we're not. Maybe we're going to be, HAI, right? So human AI interactions. But yeah, so I think there's something to that, right? Where we're starting to think about, again, when Matt was showing some of those, the generative interfaces and things like that, like we're going to have to start thinking more about how we prompt people and, or how we use those prompts. So I think it's really interesting. I also think, I remember back when, like I was a graphic designer way back when, and the web was just starting, and then Dreamweaver came out, and I was like, wow, this is a great tool because, I didn't know anything about the web, and I got to use it and it generated all this code. So I think there's probably a boom coming similar to that, where it's like, I can imagine, hey, maybe AI, like my Figma file now can actually create a whole design system for me that hooks up to an actual React component library, and I can maintain it through an interface, right? Like, those are the types of things that I think are kind of interesting. Again, I think, that's probably 2 years away. I don't even think it's 5 to 10 years away. So, I'm thinking, I couldn't even imagine, right?
Your Dreamweaver comment made people back.
Sorry.
Jesse.
Yeah, it's UX is going to change anyway, right? It's been a discipline for about 25 or 30 years, and that's the time frame for disciplines to go through an arc of change. There's already been this transition into sort of product-led growth and product thinking, and product is a little bit more the sort of place that organizations are spending their time thinking versus UX, which definitely held the torch for a few years there. But I think the important thing here is that there's the business side of it where we need to transition UX to be oriented towards business needs and actually answer the questions that businesses and organizations that we're working with actually need out of it. And then we have this technological one as well, which is the opportunity to use tools to accelerate the types of things that we're doing to make it possible for us to have greater creativity. And some of the things that I'm really interested in, like that design system one, I'm with you. I think it's going to come in 2 years. More faster. People are just oriented towards this as a solution. It's waiting to happen. But
It doesn't want you to do it.
and then we won't need to do it because it's all going to be generative. That's right. And all the OSs are going to make systems so we all have access to actually bring forward anything you need, but that creativity of the experience of the other piece that's so goes in. And before colleague who's been making these portraits of human animal hybrids, you might have seen them pop up on LinkedIn. They are so interesting and so outside of the zone with some of the things that we're doing today, not UX. He was a UX designer with
Process. And I wonder, what is the new workflows going to be, and how that's going to evolve from research to design to development. So it's exciting. I'm sorry, you were saying something.
Oh no, I was just echoing exactly what I was going to say. If you haven't already done so, I would recommend using a tool like ChatGPT to do the synthesizing of your user research. Again, we've had to reduce our team size. So I'm like looking at any process improvements and efficiencies that I can. So I tried it once and it was awesome. Like I'm like ChatGPT, this is what we're born for.
Yeah, we actually just before we had this, our team was sharing some work that they've done with Harman, which is a platform that does research. Anybody use Harman? A couple people? Okay. So it's really interesting in that it reduces the words of the researcher. It reduces the slog of going through all of the recordings and finding all the things. It helps you tag the interesting things that you heard. It helps you organize the clips that are tied to those interesting things that you heard. And then it helps you organize all of those things into some of the themes. You still have to do the inductive reasoning to actually come up with the smart insights, but you don't have to organize it all to get there, and that is usually what takes up so much time. So literally 10, 15, 20, 40 hours saved if you've got a big research study, and that's a massive time savings. And they're trying to get into the AI, so they're still working on it. If anybody's here from Mark, no, Marvin's still working.
How many of you are designers here? Show of hands. Oh, most of you guys. Awesome. Well, what skills do UX designers need to acquire to effectively work in AI? Anyone want to take it?
Yeah, I think first of all, it's you can start anywhere. Like I didn't know anything about AI when I started, and I didn't even know that I was working in AI when I was working in AI for a while. So I think just you don't have to like know everything to get started, and I think being first of all, like coming to things like this are important, like being curious about the technology, not being scared of it. The fear, the talk around, it's going to take your job. Well, it'll transform the way you do your job, but if you stay ahead of it and you embrace it as a tool, then you'll be able to supercharge your workflow. So I think it's just about being really creative. If you're a designer, I would strongly recommend making very strong relationships with your development partners and your product partners, because I learned about AI and how the architecture works from being close with the developers. And we speak very, very different languages, but we can find common ground with like strong trust building relationships. And another way that you can like supercharge your way of working is by doing brainstorm sessions where you're bringing the developers in with you, because you will be amazed at how many cool, wild, hallucinogenic ideas you can get with your own brain by brainstorming with someone that thinks completely different than you. So just be curious, stay ahead of it, be interested in the technology and learn how to speak some of the language of the technology so that we can work through the experiments and kind of align on the solution.
100% agree. So I would say it's a symbiotic relationship between product manager and the designer and a data analyst or data scientist. So I've learned so much just from hanging around those people. So if y'all work with those people, find people, network, and 100% on with the symbiotic piece. Like we do workshops all the time with those folks, and they come to me all the time and say, "Hey, can we do another one of those design workshops?" It was awesome. I'm like, yes, because I'll learn some things too. So they'll really start respecting you, and then they'll start opening up and sharing with you what they know, because they're not intimidated by you.
I think even being involved from like a distance isn't the worst thing, right? I mean, a lot of companies are building these things and people may not be a part of them, and maybe you want to learn or get involved, and like different match with the aesthetic. There's nothing wrong with jumping in and maybe giving your 2 cents on maybe a font choice, a mounted button, because the one thing I've learned about developers, no offense to any of the room, is that they're not designers and they don't understand that experience. And so getting that trust in from your expertise will help, I guess, open their minds and I guess hearts and mouths to talk to you about what is driving that. What Gretchen was saying about kind of being a partner and learning more. And that will at least get you some buy-in to be able to have more clout in the conversation. So hopefully when you do want to get more of an opportunity, you're not just starting from scratch.
One thing I'll add, I think learning a little bit more about conversational design is probably going to be the wave of the future. So I would think about that. And I do this all the time with my wife. She'll search for something and she'll be like, I couldn't find it. And I'm like, what are you trying to search for? And then I search for it and she's like, how did you find that? It's because, well, I understand how the algorithms work a little bit. I know how to narrow searches in my mind. So you can start thinking like that, and that'll help you a lot too.
I feel like there's so many things that learn, the number one that I would recommend is learn how to prompt. Just get in there, use the tools, and learn how to really make a great prompt that constrains the models so you can start to get the types of results that you are looking for with a little bit more consistency. And that's what a great prompt will do for you. You can take that prompting and turn it into agent building, and then you can start to do some of the multi-agent things that we were talking about in this talk. Going a little further and a little technical, I think the other space that is going to be important going forward is kind of knowledge graphs. I don't know if that is important to anybody. I actually have an information science background. I went to school with librarians, is what I like to say. And so all my best friends from grad school are librarians, and so they think about how information is organized. That's kind of what a knowledge graph is. It's going to superpower the ability for us to make meaning out of the generalized LLM space and make it much more powerful when it comes to writing. So another direction would be go technical, learn a little bit more about knowledge graphs. That's what it's like.
Thank you. All the suggestions are amazing. I hope you guys are taking notes. The last one, practical one I would recommend is Google has some training available. It's free and it's very basic. AI fundamentals or something. So just Google it. That was our last question. Thank you, everyone. Can I get a for 5 minutes of Q&A. I know we're running behind schedule, so yes.
Yeah, actually, so obviously AI in the movies we talk about is always AI versus humans or how we evolve together. I'm actually curious, like when it comes to creative and design, Figma actually is big backlash with the attacks to generative prototypes and all this. You saw it with Apple and their creative ad. And the question there is like, in your head as a designer, because I think ultimately AI is inevitable and we should embrace it, but it will be able to do A to Z, so from prototype to reality, from physical or digital to physical. Do you think, and we talk about regulations, but do you think we will have to limit it or control it in a way that's in space versus letting it get very independent? Maybe not AGI, but to the level where it doesn't affect us.
There's a lot of laws in Europe starting to
Yeah.
come out around AI, there's a lot of laws starting to form in Europe. I think California and Colorado are starting with that too. So I think that there is some sort of legal limits that are starting to come out. It's just it's just a matter of how global that they will get. But I'm really glad that those laws are starting to come out because it's especially for if you're working in financial or you're working in recruiting, there's a lot of hallucinations or bias that can happen from back modeling, and you could be having someone take action, or even worse, a healthcare decision that happens. So when you're making really important decisions for someone's life, that's what those kind of high-risk AI categories are coming out with. And so I'm glad that that those are coming out because I think that will be a forcing function theoretically to at least control it or set some precedents that hey, this can't be unlocked forever and not because I don't want robots. I don't want Westworld to actually happen. I mean, it's to watch from a distance.
I think some of the industries, especially, are putting a lot of limitations on it, like healthcare and finance. Used to work for GE Healthcare, and we developed an algorithm AI algorithm which can detect pneumothorax. But in order for us to actually get that one passed, there was a lot of regulatory requirements on how the AI is going to show to the radiologist on what that pneumothorax is, what they're going to interpret this as. So I was glad to see that because there was a checks and balances before it even went out to any actual users. So, but glad to see that, but I don't know if that kind of regulatory is everywhere.
Yeah,
exactly.
Wasn't this the notion of AI auditing? He's big in AI audit. As a senior practitioner, being able to bring you to AI doing check it out, factor those things in. So AI auditing.
It doesn't sound like a very fun job.
You have to be the adult in the AI.
Yes.
I know how to be AI.
What kind of,
AI checking humans, humans checking humans.
No, I was going to ask, do we have a responsibility as practitioners to identify dark design patterns around data? who here has ever had a conversation about a product and then suddenly seen ads on your phone?
Yes.
Remember how they told us they weren't doing that? Anybody see the news item 2 weeks ago? Ad agency admitted they actually put it in their PowerPoint presentation. They got delisted by Google because they're doing exactly that. They're taking all the conversations that they hear on our phones and on our smart devices, analyzing them for AI and weaponizing them against us. So, do we have a responsibility here, and how do we do that?
I threw the went from green to yellow.
Yes. Short answer, yes, we definitely have a responsibility. And I actually think that, who better in the room to do it than us because we're human-centered designers. If you think about what the outcomes for humans are meant to be, when we think of, and I think, even as a stand for AI, we think of AI as a tool that helps increase the health and well-being of the human population. So, from that perspective, yes. What we also have to do is work with the organizations that would say against, work with the organizations that want us to do some of these things and recognize that it kind of crosses the threshold of the ethical grounds that we have. And that's really the bigger challenge. It's a human challenge. I don't know if it's an AI challenge as much as it's a human challenge. So I think that's something we have to hold.
I just want to touch on that, is that there's like a difference between like predictive analytics and AI, right? Like I was in financial services for 7 years. There's a lot of predictive analytics of like what something might be, not what something is. Just because something might be doesn't mean it's going to be. So I think we're all humans, I think, over it. We all need to realize that like it's still up to each of us to delineate what is real and what isn't, and that'll come with time. And it may not come in our lifetime. I hope it does. It'd be pretty cool to see, but it still may not happen.
In starting with tenets of what is ethical design look like is the right first step to kind of go for. But doing that in vacuum as a designer also doesn't help because it's just not on to design team. It's responsibility to design for it. You need engineering, you need data scientists, you need product managers. All of them embrace the tenets to kind of define what that should be. And every step of the way, you need to make sure that the users, at the end of the day, this is where the research comes in, the users are understanding what are the ramifications of using AI. I know that, as you said, in Europe, we have to give notification that we are about to use AI. I don't think we're using it. We don't do that as much in the US, but I think it doesn't necessarily mean that we can actually just get any information we want and listen and then any information we want.
So did you go on LinkedIn today? Anyone go on LinkedIn or see all the rave about that? That someone was posting something. You should all do this. I did this immediately. Was that I guess LinkedIn automatically toggles
your information can be used to train a model on LinkedIn, so everybody turned it on.
Yeah, exactly. So they didn't really say that publicly, which is a big shock.
But it's an opt-out instead of an opt-in, which is a dark pattern, right?
That's
Good point. Right.
Let's talk a little. Yes?
So when years ago they talked about intelligent agents, right? And we would have customers' agents, so maybe directed vendors or sellers' agents. Are people thinking about that in the 2025 plus context? Like, how would that work? Would there be some application of business to business where procurement is a little more complex anyway?
Yeah, so Matt mentioned the agent swarm idea, and so that's exactly the type of thing that we're working on. We're developing the responsibilities of these AI-based agents that do certain things. They're responsible for, the offering agent, the channel agent, the user experience agent. All of those are just prompts that are trained on certain types of information that give it certain orientation towards doing things in a certain way. And so those are, I think, the types of things that we should all become aware of and maybe even good at doing, because agents are going to be very powerful. Organizations are already using them to do things internally to help them understand things like logistics or other types of analytics. And it's going to be one of the things that we might be left out of if we don't gain the technical abilities and prompts. The creation of agents understand like what those agents are doing. One of the other areas that I think is going to be really important for us to think about is how do we help developers make the agents, to the question of do it with a human-centered lens, like making the developer tools have some of the responsibility kind of baked into the interface there, so that they can actually make those choices without necessarily having to do all of the work of understanding all the user perspective. Like that's not their job necessarily. But helping them build tools so that they can build the agents, or making it so that it's possible for you to build the agents, I think are some of the things that are going to be fairly critical to our role in the future in the next 3 or 4 years.
So you're thinking like self-serve agents, you're thinking self-serve for designers to be able to create their own agents.
I think consumers will do it as well. We'll do it as well.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
I think that was the last of the question. Thank you so much all. Do you want to give any closing remarks?
Just real quick, if anybody is hiring, let us know. Tell us what job you're hiring for.
And if you're looking for a job, let us know. The idea is for us to, in the meetup group, you can actually post if you're looking for a job. So we're just here to connect you with the other people.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's been, we were talking before, it's been a little bit of a weird year in terms of how many jobs are available for the UX community. My prediction is that with the rate cut, things will get a little bit better. But, I encourage everybody to stay in touch. I'm always happy to look at someone's resume and give some advice. So keep at it. If you're looking, keep at it, and commiserate with each other and help each other out.
And feel free to reach out to any one of us on LinkedIn and make connection. Happy to give any mentoring sessions you need.
100%, because if we're not hiring, maybe somebody in our network is that we can.
Correct. And again, just the last thanks for our fabulous panelists. And again, thanks to IA Collaborative for hosting this great space.
So all right, we are done for the day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.